welcome back subscribers, and hello YouTube viewers. On this occasion we're in the coastal town of Nin. Now I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it correctly, but it's spelled N-I-N. And what's unusual for this particular town is there's an island that's sitting in the middle of the sea, and the town is basically just opposite. So we won't spend too much time in the new part. We'll definitely go across to the island where the old part is, or the old city is. We'll venture in, have a bit of a sticky beak. We'll get the drone up if it's possible, and it should be quite good. So let's check it out. So here we are, basically in the town centre, I believe. The island is just over there, and this is the roundabout. There is a police station here, there is a medical centre, there's a few stores, and as per usual, plenty of places to have a drink or a meal. And the oldies love to just sit out and chat about life in general and have a coffee or a stronger sort of drink than that. So the tourist office is right here, and that'll give you a lot of information. At the moment I don't believe it was open, but that's okay, that won't stop us from wandering around and having a little bit of an explore. So this is the bridge and the entry to the island, and as you can see, it's well guarded by this chap. And there's your bridge to get across. Now we can see in the distance a church, a very formal entrance. Was this once a fortress? I don't know. Once again, this is just something where I've looked it up on Google Maps of an evening, thought it looked quite interesting how it had an island in the sea here. This sea will take you into the Adriatic and onto the Mediterranean. So there are quite a number of buses that do tours, which is great. And let's wander in and over the bridge. So here we go, over the bridge. Still a lot of tourists about. A lot of fishing boats on either side. And I'm looking forward to checking out this island. Here's something a bit more rustic here on the right side. I have no idea how long that's been there for, or whether or not it's a prop, or how the fishing boats used to look like. No idea, but that's what I'm going to surmise, that it was once a fishing boat and they were designed that way. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So here's the main entrance. It looks terrific. So this is called the Lower City Gate. So it must have been some sort of fortress at one stage. And there's the name of where we are. So it is very, very old. So here we are, just inside the gates, making our way to the historic church. This is interesting. There's a tour guide doing it all in English, and they might have a group of Americans going around. So there's another view. There is a church nearby. This is the name of the church. It's the Treasury of Parish Church, Gold and Silver of Nin. We'll go in and check it out. Let's see if we're allowed to use photos in here. If not, we'll turn it off. And there it is. I think that's all. We'll have a look in. We won't go in any further. But what a beautiful church this one is. Just zoom in a little bit. There you go. So the church we're just in is this one right here. So it's the first Croatian cathedral that you just saw, and it's in Nin, which is quite spectacular. Once again, I've just stumbled into that, so that's purely by mistake. So I can see now why all the tourist buses are here. Now this guy I have seen in Split as well. There's another memorial or sculpture of this chap, I'm pretty sure. Now I am going to guess that this is a well located near these churches, but I could be wrong. And once again, tour group there and a tour group here. So very popular, this place. Now once again, I do like all the cobblestones in these more older cities. And as I've mentioned, you've got always an old part, an old city, and then the newer part where people have come and made it their holiday resort area with more modern buildings and residential accommodation. So if you're coming out this way, you've got the choice of really staying at some of these older parts, and all the amenities are within the old buildings. They just can't modify, I don't believe, the outside or the exterior of the buildings. And then you have the more modern buildings as well. So we'll continue on. Now there is a Museum of Nin, or Nin, Antiquities. It's in there. It's, I believe, €3 to go in. And also souvenirs to be bought left, right and centre. And here is just an example of what you can get. Once again, plenty of places for coffee and a meal, but we are in the off season, so I'm not sure how that all transpires when you have still these tourist groups coming through. Now this is just one of the restaurants on the island, and I can tell you that fish is very popular. Obviously this would sort of come across to me as being a fishing village as well. And just here to our left as we approach it is a Roman temple. So that's going back some time. So these are the remains of the biggest Roman temple on the Adriatic Sea, dated 1st century. Wow. This history is everywhere. No matter where you walk throughout Croatia and pretty much Europe in general, and that includes obviously the UK, the history is overwhelming for those who might be from Australia, New Zealand, the United States, all those countries that are basically barely 200 years old. And when I mean 200 years old, I mean, where civilization actually kicked in. So there you go. So this must be the foundations that still remain. Excellent. Hopefully we'll get a good bird's eye view of this. So I have to make a point of when I get to the church just to keep going with the drone to get all this in. So here we have just a slightly different angle. Be interesting to see what it actually looked like before it went to ruin. But it was definitely tall, that's for sure. So here we are with some more archaeology, I guess. If I can find a plaque, it'll tell me what it is. Otherwise, at the moment, your guess is as good as mine. But it does look obviously like the foundations of something. And yes, we have another church, be it a very small one. and we'll have a look. We'll get a bit closer. There is a plaque that I can see, and the good thing about it is everything's in English as well. So this is the Church of the Holy Cross, and 9th century is when this church was built, or suggested when it was built. You can see where the bell used to ring, and they're quite small, so I'm not sure what this would be used for. I can't see that, you know, you could hold so many people in there. It's very, very small. And here's another plaque to say that it's a National Trust one. This is the second type of church that I've been into that's virtually identical in shape and size. I'll just pan up for you guys. There you go. I'll bring you back down to where the front door is. And as you can see, that should ring a bell with another church we've already been at, where one side of the door had broken off the hinge. It's great. And once we hop out, we can see more of the ruins. So once again, I need to point out that as much as I'm in this coastal town and island of Nin, you could spend a whole day here, so don't assume that what you're watching is all there is. There's so much to look at that you could easily spend a good half day as a minimum to wander around. And basically what you're doing, especially in the old part, is exploring history, which I think is just, once again, fantastic. Now, I'd also like to add, there's a lot of old walls here. And to be fair, it's nearly impossible for me unless you're trained in history and walls and whatnot. But it's really hard to pick what is relatively new and what is relatively ancient. Now, I'm not sure if you can see that, but way in the distance there are those buses for all the tours that are going around at the moment at the same time. I've strayed away from them and let them have their time. Once again, as you can see, what appears to be ruins next to that street lamp could very much be so. It's terrific. Not sure what this is on the left here with the high nets. I'm assuming it's probably a soccer oval, or soccer field I should say. I can tell you that Croatians are mad keen on soccer. It's their national sport. I think basketball is as well. Not sure what the women's sports are. I think they've got a Croatian women's team as well. And this looks more like a kid size or a school size field, little stadium there, so I'm assuming there might be even a school nearby or within close proximity of this oval. Okay, so we'll continue on. Now, what I find really odd is these ATM machines, and this, I could be totally wrong as well, it does appear that if you've got a piece of property that's on a major thoroughfare of traffic or pedestrian traffic, anyone can get these ATMs stuck on the front of their house, or on this occasion in their wall, and so the tourists can use it, and obviously they get a percentage of whatever transactions are made. But to me that seems quite odd, and as you can imagine, open to abuse, but that's just me. So you can drive onto the island if you want to. I've chosen not to. If you can see where those 3 flags are, I'm assuming one's for the the town or city of Nin, the Croatian flag in the middle, and is it the EU flag with all the stars around in the circle with the blue and gold? I think I'm correct. I'm not sure. If I'm wrong, I'm sure someone will jump in and tell me that I'm wrong. There's the Croatian flag flying proudly with a bit of breeze. I don't think it'll affect the drone too much. Now I'll quickly take the opportunity to give you a little bit more history about the place. Nin was historically important as the centre of a medieval Christian diocese. Nin was also the seat of the Princes of Dalmatia. Nin's historical centre is located on an islet only 500 metres or yards in diameter. Nin is situated in a lagoon on the eastern shore of the Adriatic Sea, as we saw earlier in the map that I showed you at the start, and surrounded by natural sandy beaches, and linked with the mainland by two stone bridges from the 16th century. According to historians, the area of Nin appears to have been settled 10,000 years ago. The present-day town on the islet developed 3,000 years ago and is one of the older towns on the eastern Adriatic. The area of Nin was first colonized by immemorial people of the Mediterranean. The Croats or the Croatians arrived in Nin in the 8th century. The first Croatian state community was formed in the 9th century. Nin was the first Croatian royal town, with its period of glory being from the 7th to the 13th centuries. In the 9th century, Nin became the seat of the first Croatian bishop. So here we are making our way off the island of Nin, and if you did like the video, by all means click on that like button or that thumbs up icon. Please consider subscribing. Subscribing does not cost you 1 cent, but it helps out the channel immensely. But most importantly, wherever you are, stay safe, commute safe, and have a great day, and thank you for watching.